Partizan Belgrade share their wonderful city with arch-rival Crvena Zvezda. The two stadiums sit just 400 metres apart, and it is known as one of the most violent football rivalries in footballing history. So today we're going to be looking to do what Partizan Belgrade have never managed before, and what Crvena Zvezda have. They have won a Champions League trophy, while Partizan Belgrade have not. They both sit on 16 Super Leagues. So today the goals of the rebuild for Partizan Belgrade is to overtake arch-rivals with the Serbian Super League and to win their very first Champions League, all while doing this using the Moneyball approach and using their fantastic Wonder Kid farm with their 5-star youth facilities. So welcome to rebuilding Partizan Belgrade. Now there is some standout players already at Partizan Belgrade, but you can see the age profile of the squad as a whole is pretty much above 25, getting on towards the 30 mark, which when you look at the club info screen with that ridiculous 5-star youth recruitment, 4-star training facilities and 4-star youth facilities, we should be able to turn that around and blood in some fantastic wonder kids. And if you look at the under-19s, there's already some of them here. It is filled with 4.5-star and 5-star wonder kids, which throughout this rebuild you will see them blooded into the first team, because this rebuild of Moneyball is going to be unlike no other. In other rebuilds we have often had a lot of money to go ahead and spend. We have built the finances up to a big amount, and the clubs already have sort of a European foundation, whereas with Partizan Belgrade they do not at all. There is just £9 million in the bank. Their wage budget as a total is £69,000, which is less than what we spent over at Werder Bremen on most players. The transfer budget as you start is £0, and as we get through into the start of season number 2, because of course we're going to be making no signings in this first season as there is no data collected for the Moneyball. The Moneyball approach is going to be difficult. We do not get a lot of money here in Serbia, so it's going to be trying to find players that are ridiculously cheap, which are smashing it in their leagues, that are number one, interested to come to Serbia as well. So that is going to be incredibly difficult. So the youth is going to be a key part of this rebuild. There is some superstars here, and some which always props up Moneyball rebuilds that I have never managed to get my hands on is Saldania. He is a Brazilian striker with fantastic finishing, composure and pace. We have Serbian centre-back Zvezda Markovic with great consistency and big matches, as well as the holy trinity of 14 heading, 14 marking and 13 tackling, as well as fantastic physical attributes. There is also a few star names in here that are a little bit older, just like central attack midfielder Gayas Zahid from Norway. This guy is a fantastic creative central attack midfielder, and as you can see from his stats, he is a leading Super League player in Serbia. And we're not even going to be a team that can compete in the Europa Conference League. We have got that this season, but it is going to be extremely difficult. And to show you guys the exact task we are starting, the Europa Conference League is going to be very hard to get out of. As you can see, we didn't even qualify for the group stage. We got knocked out by Luzern, which is incredibly embarrassing and makes it incredibly difficult. We can't even get past the group stage of the green competition. Now, we are going to be looking to add to them 16 Super Leagues, but you can see we have not won the league title since 2016-2017, and that's because our arch rivals Crvena Zvezda have had a nice time of it since then, winning every single league title. And last season and the season before that, Partizan didn't even make it into the top 2. So it's going to be quite the task to even get to the top of Serbia and then get into the European places. You can see from the thing here, you got 1 qualification for the Champions League, 1 for the Europa League, and 3 teams qualify into the knockout qualification, or the playoff rounds to get into the UEFA Conference League. So hopefully we can make it into these top 2 spaces, get a spot in the Europa League or in the Champions League. If we win the league, that would be absolutely fantastic. Crvena Zvezda are massive favourites, 3-10 on. We are 4-1, but we are clearly the second best team in terms of the media. The rest are all 33-1 and under. And to show just how clear they are over double our salary per annum. They are spending 6.62 million, while we are spending just £2.7 million in salary per annum. So let's get into season number 1. Well, the season started in emphatic fashion. A fantastic start to the season, going all the way unbeaten to the end of October, including a 4-2 victory over arch rival Crvena Zvezda, which I'm absolutely buzzing with goals from Sincija Sanchin, Zandar Savinia, Janko Jeronovic and Alexia Kelčić as well. We then moved on into the winter months, November and December, also keeping unbeaten, just a one loss to Radniki at the end of October, and we carried that unbeaten streak on until we got all the way down to the Super League final phase, where we lost 3-1 to SERBIA Savezdia in the game that did matter, as you split off in Serbia from the league phase into the sort of split relegation and promotion league phases, as in the second half and the top half. You go into a big competition where you play against the best teams and the worst teams play against the worst teams. We lost our first game in that, but that was that. We won every single game past that, and we ended up being Super League champions on 97 points. A simply fantastic season. Crveni Zvezda finished a whole 12 points away from us, and we broke a 7-year title streak for Crveni Zvezda with Partizan. A fantastic first season in the Serbian league. And it wasn't just there as well, because we also were simply fantastic in the Serbian Cup. We managed to get off to a brilliant start in the final here with Saldania, that man himself, getting a goal early on. Nacho then found Filipovic, who gets a ball into Saldania again, and I have to say, this guy is way too good for the Serbian Super League. As mentioned, he always props up in my Moneyball rebuilds as scoring a ridiculous amount of goals. A screamer there from Kalulu to make it 3-0. You can see the pyro in the stands as well. That is something which happens a hell of a lot in Serbia. This rebuild was inspired by watching Ellis Platten's The Away Days channel. He's done a video going to Serbia, and it was Partizan versus Crveni Zvezda, and I watched that and I was like, you know what, Moneyball in Serbia, let's bring it home for Partizan and make them Serbian champions yet again. Another absolute belter there from Nacho from 35 yards out before a goal in the 80th minute. Stepjanovic finds Filipovic. Filipovic beats his man, gets the byline, and that Zalid in the middle makes it 5-2 and a convincing Serbian Cup victory. So the domestic double had been completed. Now, we've already touched on the Europa Conference League. We got knocked out in the 4th round qualifying round, not even making the group stage. So as much as we can dominate Serbia, the goal of this rebuild is to dominate Europe and win the Champions League, which, of course, we are a hell of a long way away from. Because of our fantastic league position, we are in the Champions League this season, as well as Crveni Zvezda. No, I misinterpreted the league table. The actual top 2 teams get Champions League, 3rd and 4th have the Europa League, and 5th place get Europa Conference League as well, which is absolutely brilliant. The competition is currently sitting 12th in European League, so we're looking to hopefully try and make that climb up the table as well. But I am very happy with how Season 1 has got on. Our star players this season, you will not be surprised to find out that Saldania was our top goal scorer, 28 goals and 2 assists. Simply fantastic. Is absolutely unbelievable. While Gayas Zahid got 18 and 8, Bibas Nacho playing in central defensive midfielder got 15 goals and 6 assists. He is on the older side of things, but is simply brilliant, as is Aldo Kalulu, 11 goals and 9 assists. 14 assists come from Alexander Filipovic as well, and 15 assists come from the left-hand side, Nikola Antic. So a brilliant season in terms of our players. But one thing that I am very worried about, is I have mentioned the finances before, is the money we've got. £483 to spend in wage budget and £690,000 in transfer budget. So finding players which are willing to come to us at that stupid sort of value, and also having over a 7 average match rating and meeting the Moneyball requirements, is going to be difficult. And if I just show you the list of these players which are getting above a 7 average rating, there is not a single player here which we could be able to afford. Potentially Sarvisia from Hajduk. He's 27 years of age, so it would have to be on the lower side of that. There's players here like Michael Elise. Apparently he's interested in coming to Partizan. I'm sorry, Elise, you're worth 77 million. I couldn't bring you in if I wanted to. There is 502 players on this list. Hopefully we can sign a couple that come into this first team. As mentioned, though, the Wonder Kids here at Partizan are going to be carrying us through. I have made a lot of them available for the under-19s and for Telepopic, who are like the second team here at Belgrade, so they can go ahead and get some game time while also training up in the first team. This is my biggest tip that I give you guys every single time I have loads of Wonder Kids. Bring them up to the first team so they can train in the better training facilities, and then get them playing in the under-19s and at Telepic or the second club, or if it's a B team, get them playing there so they get regular minutes. Like someone here like Dennis Tosic hasn't played a single game in the first team, but played a couple down in the under-19s. Someone like, if we go for someone a little bit better, Eldin Bajramovic played 1 game in the Serbian Super League. He's 17 years of age. His stats are going up because he's training with the better players, but he played 29 games for the under-19 side, scoring 22 goals and getting 13 assists. assists. So of course, he is now going to be up for first team contention because he had a fantastic season, smashing it in the under-19. So that is my biggest advice when you have a whole host of wonder kids, is get them in the first team, get them playing regular minutes in the under-19s, but having them train with the better players. So let's get into it. A few players might be leaving. There is a few players that are wanted. Markovic is wanted. Slovenia is wanted. Saldania is wanted. Everyone else, not really got too much interest on them, which we'll take because we're looking to build a dynasty. So let's get into the summer signings for season 2. Well, I said it was going to be difficult, and we've only made one signing. That is Veldin Hodja. He is a 3.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability, Croatian central defensive midfielder, and we spent quite a lot of money on him. £1.9 million, potential up to 2.3. He had a 7 average rating last season over at Rekia in Serbia, and a defensive midfielder was much needed to improve this team. We have also ended up selling a few star players like Aldo Kalulu for 2.5 million, Zander Slovenia to Midtjylland for 2.1, Frank Kanuate has left to Westerlo for 1.2, Nathan Domina to Fortuna Sittard for 1.1, Alexander Kelcic for 425, and Alexa Jankovic for £275,000, as well as loaning out a whole host of players as well to go out and get some vital first team experience. The current squad is looking like so, with Jovanovic in goal, Filipovic, Markovic, Milicic and Antic as the back four, Hodza and Stepanovic in DM, with Mircetovic, Zardi, Tifrovanovic and Saldania up front. The backups are looking like Rajilaski, Roganovic, Nikola Simic, Petrovic, Simo Pavlov, Nacho, Dragovic, Jeremanovic, Aliohovic, Petrovic and Bazdar. Please do not slate the pronunciation. It is very difficult to pronounce all these names. I am not a very good pronouncer of names, as you guys let me know in the comments anyway. I hope I haven't completely butchered it. Let me know in the comments down below if I have absolutely had a stinker with any of these names. There is so many players here which are staying with the first team, which we have not loaned out due to their age or actually are going to be good enough to sort of actually give something to the first team. So there's quite a few players here which are going to be training with playing with the under-21s, but are also going to be good enough, like Eldin Bajramovic, who's got 2.5-star current ability, and Dusan Jovanovic as well. Same, 2.5-star ability, 5-star potential. This guy looks like an absolute stud of great finishing, great determination, composure, and fantastic pace. He's only 18 years of age, and he could be a standout player for us in years to come. Has already played a game this season for Telepovic and scored a hat-trick. So very much could be one to look out for the future. We are, of course, in the Champions League this season, the league phase as well, which is going to be extremely, extremely tough. The Serbian Cup and the Serbian Super League. Let's get into it. Well, I suppose first of all we'll touch on the Champions League and a 4-1 loss to Leipzig, draws against Lazio and Newcastle, a 4-0 loss to Atlanta, a 5-0 loss to Celtic, before a 2-0 victory against Galatasaray, a 4-0 loss to Bayern Munich, and a 1-0 loss to Arsenal. Of course, meant we were knocked out of the league phase, finishing down in 29th position on 5 points with a negative 15 goal difference. We got absolutely battered, and this is just our first season in the Champions League. We've got a long way to get into sort of the top 24, hopefully the top 8, and eventually Champions League winners. So make sure to grab some popcorn and strap yourselves in, because this is not going to be an easy rebuild. Let me know in the comments down below as well where you think we're going to be able to do this. Previous seasons, it took us 9 for Werder Bremen, 6 for Copenhagen, as a little bit of sort of, you know, a gist of where to put sort of the guesses. In between that, I would guess I would have been surprised if it's 7 or 8, because there is a fantastic youth facility here. It might even be sooner. The youth academy here is ridiculous. It just produces wonder kids like it's nobody's business. The semi-final of the Serbian Cup is where we got to this time, sadly losing out to Crvena Zvezda, who went on to win the whole thing, of course, beating Seljuk. Obviously a very good Serbian side, one that I personally don't know much about, but Crvena Zvezda are back to being champions of that. But it was certainly something we are looking to win in the rest of the seasons in this rebuild. We don't want Crvena Zvezda getting too many trophies. We need to be overtaking them on every single front. But it's time to look at the league table and how we got on in the Serbian Super League. So the season, of course, again started brilliantly with 6 wins in a row before a draw against TSC, a loss to Crvena Zvezda. Were we going to be overtaken by them this season? Well, a ridiculous unbeaten run spanning around 4 months from April to the end of September, including, that's actually 6 months, a fantastic unbeaten run before a loss to that famous team Zelincicia, who beat us 4-2, and that was our only other loss of the season. So you can imagine how we done in the Serbian Super League. It wasn't quite as many points as last season, just the 87 this season with a positive 73 goal difference, absolutely dominating Crvena Zvezda and making it 2 Serbian leagues in a row, which is absolutely brilliant. Saldania finished as top goal scorer on 24, with Bajramovic down in third on 15. Now this player is someone to look out for. Just 18 years of age, 33 games, 18 goals and 4 assists with a 7.1 average rating. He really could go on to become an absolute superstar. Also Jovanovic with his second joint top clean sheets with Omri Glazier from Crvena Zvezda. Bajranovic also top on player of the matches. Zoran Alilovic, the wonderkid central attack midfielder, with 12 assists. This guy we have signed as well on previous rebuilds because he is unbelievable. 13 assists and 2 goals in just 15 starts. He really is someone to go ahead and keep an eye out from, and will of course be taking that central attack midfielder spot away from Gayash Zahid when he does go ahead and leave the club. He is now 30 years of age. He did get 9 goals and 14 assists, but is he standing in the way? And with a value of around £5 million, is it a no-brainer to see if we can bring him in? The finances have blown up since we're getting into the Champions League. Over £30 million now in the bank, which is lovely to go ahead and see. And they've actually given us a fair old bit of money this season as well. Last season, just £600,000. This season, £12.5 million to go ahead and spend. And also a 10k wage budget. We're away from the £685. That is it, not £1,000, Will. Just 685 quid. The team, obviously, this season was fantastic. The stand-up performers, the likes of Saldania, Eldon Bajramovic. Samid Bazdar is another player to certainly touch on. 14 goals and 2 assists. He is a 21-year-old Serbian central attacking midfielder with great finishing composure and pace. Decent determination as well. He is also consistent. A 3-star player currently with a potential to go up to 5. He scored 14 goals in just 20 starts. So again, is someone to keep an eye out for. He's 6'1", and we might not be signing too many players so far in this rebuild or in the future because of the fantastic wonder kids coming through. But hopefully I'm showing you guys still some brilliant players that are extremely cheap from the Serbian leagues that you could pick up. Bogdan Miracevic got 7 goals and 11 assists and 3 goals and 11 assists from Aleksandar Filipovic at right back as well. But it's time to get into season 3. I've got a feeling quite a few of these players could end up leaving the club. And that is exactly what happened. Nikola Simic, who burst onto the scene last season, left for Porto for £6 million. Saldania has finally left to go to Espanyol for £5 million, who have lost our best centre-back and best striker. Mihajlo Petkovic has left to go to Eintracht Frankfurt, a big old hole in the winger and cam positions as a great rotation option. He has gone. Nikola Micicevic, who we have spoken about, has left to TSC to go ahead and stay in the Serbian League but leave us. And Andro Stojkovic has left to go to Elche, an older right back but sold for £135,000. Made it so we had to go ahead and bring in some superstars. So signing number 1 is an 18-year-old right back who we signed for over £7 million, which yes is expensive but already a value of £16 million. It is Noah Mikic. This guy at Dynamo Zagreb is an absolute superstar and someone you guys have to be looking at for your saves. He can play right back or right wing, which is exactly what I love because he's got fantastic crossing, dribbling, first touch, determination, outrageous speed, but also is decent at defending, 10 marking and 12 tackling, only 8 heading, but guess what? As an attacking right wing back, that is exactly what we need, and this guy can hopefully be a superstar. He is a little bit inconsistent and a little bit injury prone, but if he can stay away from them, Noah Mikic could become one of the best players in the world. And another signing from Dynamo Zagreb, who smashed it over there last season, is Tin Miljak. This guy's got 19 determination, fantastic speed, dribbling and first touch with 12 composure, and is simply brilliant as well. Also extremely consistent, so we love to see Tin Miljak here for just £2.6 million. Staying in Serbia, a signing for 21 years of age of £230,000 is Stefan Obradovic. This guy's got great determination, heading, tackling and marking, and a brilliant jumping reach as well. So late on in games as our backup centre-back, bring him on, get him for the corners, and he could be a difference maker. He looks absolutely brilliant for just such a cheap fee of 230k. And our keeper has left, so we needed a brand new goalkeeper. And the best person I could think of to bring in was Filip Stankovic from Inter Milan. Now, this is a loan deal for 1 season. I know, boo, loan to the Moneyball rebuild, but it has an option to sign for just £1.8 million. And currently, he wouldn't sign a permanent transfer as he didn't believe in the club's financial constraints. So I am hoping this season we can again qualify for the Champions League, get lots and lots of money, and hopefully meet his £8,000, maybe double that to £15,000 in sort of wage requirements. That is my hope. I am praying we manage to bring in Filip Stankovic because he is a fantastic young goalkeeper. He played 4 games for Inter Milan last season, so come up of over 450 minutes, which is the requirements I set for Moneyball. Conceded just 1 goal and got 3 clean sheets in the Serie A alone. Yeah, that ticks some boxes for me. I'm hoping he can come in here and be one of the best goalkeepers in the league. He's already a leading player. He could become a star player, and I believe he is going to be good enough to reach that as well. So welcome, Filip Stankovic. Now, I haven't actually mentioned the goalkeepers left because he's not out the door just yet, but Alexander Jovanovic, at 32 years of age, is going to be leaving the club. He has got bids in him from the likes of Watford, Montpellier, Cagliari, and Almeria. We are also still looking to sell our superstar right back, Alexander Filipovic. He is out the door and he is looking to leave the club and join FC Metz, Cadiz, or Swansea. And that is it in terms of the outgoings. Just a few of the older players taking a bit more time to go ahead and sell. Obviously made the save file a little bit too early. Stankovic in goal, Noah Mikic, Markovic, Petrovic, and Filipovic as the defensive line, with Stejbanovic, Beldim, Hojda in DM, Jermonovic, Zahid, Bajramovic, and Bazdar making the front 4, with the backups looking like Mihailovic, Rogvanovic, Obradovic, Multinovic, Nikola Antic, Dragovic, my tongue's getting twisted, Milenkovic, Tin, Mijak, Zahan, Alilovic, Godzic, and Jovanovic, with Uros Kuk also there as well. A lot of our Wonder Kids are going out on loan. I wouldn't be able to go through all of these players because it would take way too long. This rebuild would be about 15 hours long, but you can see based on the squad, there is so many players here with 5-star potential, and it's just an absolute farm. You can see these guys are 15 and 16, so they have come through the actual youth academy system itself. They are now a 4.5-star potential ability. Someone like Nedjan Jovanovic looks absolutely brilliant, and it's literally just come through the academy. So like I said, get them into the first team, training with the lads. We've got everyone here. Even if they're not quite good enough, they can be here training and then go and play games, the under-19s, or at Telpokovic as well. So much Wonder Kids coming through. It is an absolute Wonder Kid farm, and we're looking to keep on top of this as well. You can see we've already improved the training facilities from 3-star to 4-star, and the reputation is on the up as well. We want to try and get that to 3.5-star, and when we win the Champions League, well, it should be at least 4-star as well. So looking to improve things within the board. I'd like to do that because this save is of course available for you guys on Patreon. A massive thank you to the legends on screen right there. If you guys are a Partizan fan or you want to pick up a save in Serbia where they are the best team, and to see if you can keep them there, the save file is available over on Patreon. It helps support me massively. It is £5 a month, but you have no idea the support it gives me. It is absolutely mental, the love and support you guys are given, and the guys on Patreon as well. A massive thank you and a shout out to you guys. Without me waffling, let's get into the season 3 results and see if we can keep up this fantastic streak of winning the Serbian Super League, but also we need to go ahead and do a better competition in the Champions League. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here in Serbia, the league has dropped down in rankings, so we now have to go through the UEFA Champions League qualification rounds. We battered Zalgiris, battered HJK and Legia to make it into the league phase of the Champions League. We lost 4-3 to Celtic, we beat Ajax, we lost to Bayern, we beat Villarreal, we drew to Young Boys, we beat PSV. We then may have lost 7-0 to Real Madrid and 3-2 of Atletico Madrid, but it means we were through in the league phase. We'd managed to scrape through into the knockout playoff round, finishing in 18th place with 3 wins, a draw and 4 losses and a positive 1 goal difference. We are unbelievable, and it's time to go into the knockout playoff round of the Champions League. Well, you know what? I am incredibly proud. We lost 1-0 at home to Porto, a side with an incredibly bigger wage budget and a much better squad than us, and then losing 3-0 away from home at the Estadio de Drogo. Goals from João Mario, Evan Nilsson and Rocco Simic. Obviously, we have done a Porto rebuild. Winning the Champions League, so to face them feels quite nice. We're obviously out, and we're not going to go through into the round of 16, but in Season 3, we have made it to the knockout stages of the Champions League, and from here on out it is all about growth. Finances wise, that did an absolute world of good. We were down here on £26 million. Just getting into the knockout phase just once has got us up to £78 million in the bank, and has given us a £32 million transfer budget and a £605,000 wage budget when we're only currently spending £69 £100,000. So this is now the start. We can now build Partizan into a super team. It's going to be helped as well due to the fact we are Serbian Cup winners and we are starting to dominate Serbia. A 4-0 victory over Radnici, a fantastic result. Goals from Tin Mijak got a brace, Noah Mikic got one in the 15th minute, and Petar Petrovic in the 29th minute. We are taking back the Serbian Cup, and it had also come down to where the league was looking incredibly tight. Yet again, we started off unbeaten in July, August, and right until the end of September. After we beat Crvena Zvezda 3-1, we ended up losing to Radnici 1-0, which is a shame, but it is what it is. We went back and beat Radnici 1923 2-0, had an unbeaten October, an unbeaten November, an unbeaten December, and things were looking great. The January break happened. We come back in the first week of February to a 9-0 victory against Mladost, and we were absolutely smashing it, keeping unbeaten in February before a loss 2-0 to Voždovac in Serbia, a 2-0 loss, which is disappointing. Still going ahead though and keeping unbeaten for the rest of March, the whole of April, including 7-0, 6-0 and 4-1 victories, and the whole of May with a 5-0, a 7-0, a 3-1 and a 4-1. You might think we've absolutely stormed the league table. We haven't. We have won it on goal difference, 91 points, but also a 91 goal difference, 28 wins, 7 draws and 2 losses, the exact same as Crvena Zvezda, who have come in second and are still not on top of Partizan just yet. Up the Partizan, we are still number 1. It was a very tight league. Look at the team overview. Simply, we scored too many goals. 112 goals scored in 37 games, conceding just 21, one more than Crvena Zvezda. Possession-wise, we got down in third on 58, but the most important one, in fact, we were level with Crvena Zvezda, is points per game, 2.46. Absolutely buzzing. We've gone ahead and had a fantastic season. It is triple title winners in a row. Things are looking fantastic. And there's also a few things that happened that were out of our control. Players left us midway through the season. Janko Juranovic, the Serbian right winger who was out on loan last season at St. Pauli, come back, absolutely smashed it, and then went to AC Milan in January for £5 million. That was his release clause. There's nothing we could do about it. He's now played 10 games in the Champions League, obviously some of them with us, and now again in the Italian Cup in Italy as well. I wish he didn't leave, but there he is. Janko Juranovic has left the club. He wasn't the only one, because Eldin Bajramovic, the other fantastic player we had here, left actually in August, and I didn't see it. So he went to Caligari. He played 31 games in the Serie A, which shows the level of quality in this player. He dropped a 6.71, so maybe it was too big of a step, but he's only 19 years of age, and look at him absolutely going off and smashing it as well. So fantastic job, Eldin. We are proud of you. But it did also mean that that season, 2 of our wingers had left. One at the middle of the season, one at the very start. So we were actually dealing with a little bit of a strapped squad in terms of goals. We had an absolute breakout start in Dusan Jovanovic, 33 goals in 45 starts. This guy is growing at a fantastic rate and is an absolute superstar, as is Gahias Zahid. Now, this guy I have mentioned selling a few times. He is 31 years of age now. It is time for him to go, but replacing 27 goals and 15 assists is going to be incredibly difficult. It's just lucky for us that we've got someone like Samed Bazdar, who is a striker but can also play in cam instead of Wahid. He can come into that position. He's got 21 goals this season and got an assist, rotating with Jovanovic up front. So my hope is that Bazdar drops into cam, Jovanovic goes up top, and we can get rid of the 31-year-old and move on with this Partizan side. Zalen Iliovic scored 13 goals, and got 12 assists. And Tin Mijak got 11 goals and 7 assists. Both of them absolutely fantastic. 20 assists from Noah Mikic, the £7 million signing. He is proven to be a bargain. Absolutely fantastic as well. And as mentioned, the whole squad is doing absolute wonders. The loans are doing great as well. Bogdan Mricijetic has been out on loan at Watford. He's coming back as a 3.5-star player with 5-star potential. So he's going to replace one of them winger spots. Nemanja Tifranovic looks very good. Vanja Radlaski, the young goalkeeper, can also come in and be our backup. But luckily for us, our goalkeeping position is now sorted, because Filip Stankovic has agreed to join us on a permanent transfer for 1.8 million. The gamble paid off. He got over a 7 average rating, 50 goals conceded and 58 starts. An absolute bargain for 1.8 million. Welcome in the Serbia number 1, Filip Stankovic. We have still got another £32 million to spend. We are now going to start spending some money and hopefully improving not just ourselves, the whole league, because somehow it's dropped from from 12th to 18th, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. I don't understand that can happen when we're now getting into European places, but it's now time to grow everything. We're going to be up in this squad at a ridiculous level. I do want to quickly touch on the fact as well, actually, that in terms of our salary, we are still nowhere near Cervania Svezdia. They are spending £14 million, we are spending £3.5 million, and we are still competing with them and absolutely dominating. So I'm buzzing. We are doing very well, but it's now time for Season 4 to take that next step to actually competing in the European stage. Well, lucky for us, we managed to keep hold of pretty much all of our star players, with just Alexander Filipovic and Dusan Doslov leaving the club for over £500,000. So it really was a year where we could take the next step. And signing someone we have signed in the previous rebuild before is Geronimo Riviera. This guy was absolutely fantastic, I believe, at Werder Bremen, and ended up with a £60 million value. We have signed him for just £5 million here at Partizan. A bargain winger with fantastic dribbling, pace and flair. He is absolutely fantastic, consistent, loves big matches, and obviously has dropped over a 7 in 4 seasons in a row now, and has been fantastic over at Banfield in Argentina. Can he cement that into the Serbian game? I certainly hope so, because it'll be massive if he does. £950,000 was spent on Nikola Stankovic. This is a Serbian central defence midfielder signed from Kuchari, a Serbian rival in the league. He is a very good, well-rounded player, likes big matches, and is also consistent, so I'm excited to see what he can do. Eliago Akyapov is from Russia, signed from CSKA Moscow. This guy's got great jump and reach, heading, marking, tackling, and determination, and was signed for a measly £2.5 million after having very good seasons over in Russia. A brand new cam to back up Bazdar is Bernardo Valim, signed from Botafogo. This guy's got some fantastic well-rounded stats. Before we actually signed him, the scout report was a hell of a lot better. He is very consistent. He is only 20 years of age and has been doing very well in his first breakout season in Brazil with 6 assists in 9 games and 7.16. I'm just hopeful we can translate that into being a solid player over here. And keeping in Brazil is Wonderkid centre-back from Santos in Jair. This guy is a goal-scoring machine from corners with 18 jumping reach, 6'6" and 13 heading. Also with solid defensive stats, physical stats as well. £5 million after, again, 2 fantastic seasons was a no-brainer. And finally, bringing in Congolese winger Benny Makwana from Policia over in Ukraine for £675,000. A bargain with fantastic pace, determination and dribbling. Also very consistent, and it means our whole squad has taken a big old step up. We are now looking at a solid team with Stankovic in goal, Noamikic at right back, Jer, Markovic and Filipovic at the back, Stejpanovic and Hojda in DM, with Murketovic, Aliolovic, Riviera as our backup 3 to Bazdar. And that is fantastic, because it means Jovanovic is now our backup striker, with Makuna, Valim and Tin Majak as our backup wingers, Milkencevic, Stankovic, Pavlov, Petrovic, Agyapov, Roganjevic and Radlyaski as our backups. We are building an absolute super team. We are now going to be the favourites for the Serbian League. Nearly. We are very, very close to Cervania Svezdia. I was fully expecting that, to say we're favourites. We have got it to now being a proper 2-legged race. Obviously, we are 3 seasons in a row, and last season it coming down to both having 91 points. We have now overtaken them on total titles, which is fantastic. It is just that Champions League we need to go ahead and collect. So can we do it in Season 4? Well, it was a case where we had to go through the knockout playoff rounds again in the Champions League. We matched up against Romanian side Fadul Constantinia, beat them 4-0 in the first leg and 2-0 away from home to take on Victoria Pleasant. We're a 6-2 victory at home and a 4-2 victory away from home. Sets us off into the final playoff round against AEK with a 2-2 draw away from home and a 5-0 victory at the Stadion FK Partizan meant we were qualified for the Champions League group stage. Now, St Gallen we beat 4-0 before a draw against Marseille, a 3-2 loss to Manchester City, a valiant effort indeed in October in our third leg, meant a win, a draw and a loss to kick things off. We then beat Benfica 3-2 and KRC Genk 8-0 on the European stage, a 1-0 draw to Lazio, a 4-0 loss to PSG before a 4-1 victory against Barcelona. An unbelievable league phase show. We really were going to be a very difficult side to get past. Meant we were 10th in the Champions League qualifications. 4 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses. And we still had the knockout playoff round and we got drawn up against Red Bull Salzburg. The first leg was away from home at snowy Salzburg, and Kamiri get them off to a fantastic start, dribbling through the team and firing it into the back post. And we were a goal down heading into the second half. A ball to the edge of the box, a strike from Riviera makes it 1-1. And just 2 minutes later, Hodja drives the ball, finds Bazdard on the right-hand side. He beats the Salzburg winner to find that superstar striker, Jovanovic, in the middle to give us a 2-1 lead. And we did not turn back from there. But Vadim loses the ball. It drops to Hodja, who finds Geronimo Vieira. And an absolute screamer in off the crossbar to make it 3-1 before 4-1 comes quickly along. Markovic to Bazdar, back to Hodja. The DM sit on the edge of the box, ready to fire it into the top corner, and that is exactly what he does. Kamiri then drives on a counter-attack for Salzburg, finding Amari Forsen, who then finds Diambu and scores a fantastic goal of their own to make it 4-2, and another goal for ourselves. Riviera down the left-hand side, beats his man, drives to the edge of the box, whips it in, Jovanovic is there, Schlager caught in no man's land. 5-2 away from home in the Champions League knockout playoff round. Partizan are back. We obviously then have our home leg, and all we need to do was to not fall to a 3-goal deficit. A ball in the box, and Jovanovic gets us off to a great start in 13 minutes before our brand new left back through the academy, Filipovic, drives down left hand side. He finds Riviera, who has been a standout player. You can see the pyro in the stands as well. Big up the Partizan fans. They absolutely love it. Milenkovic finds Filipovic, and he scores a screamer to make it 3-0, and I believe 8-2 on aggregate. 8-2 BU Salzburg. We should have kept the scoreline there, but Jovanovic wins another to make it 9-2, and Mircedovic whips it in to Jovanovic at the back stick, who knocks it down for Rivera. He makes it 10-2. 10-2 in a Champions League knockout playoff round against Red Bull Salzburg. Simply ridiculous, the leaps and bounds we have come on. The team for that game was Stankovic in goal, Mikic, Zhe, Agapov, Filipovic, Milenkovic, Stankovic, Mircedovic, Bazdar, Riviera and Jovanovic. A superb Partizan side sets up a round of 16 game. We were unlucky enough to draw PSG, where, believe it or not, they still have Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, Xavi Simons, and that guy Victor Osimhen is now up front as well. And Mbappe gets them off to a brilliant start before a ball in from Ousmane Dembele, and that man Osimhen is there to make it 2-0. And yeah, it was very, very difficult in this game. They are incredibly good. Vitinha finds Osimhen and he makes it 3-0. But we weren't going to roll over without a fight. Stankovic on the ball finds the ball up wide to Mikic, and that Partizan crowd got behind the Croatian right back to find a ball in the box to Bazdar to make it 3-1. And in the 80th minute, we went ahead and wanted another goal. A mistake at the back from Quinton Timber. Jovanovic got onto the end of it. Donnarumma couldn't stop it, and it was 3-2. And we had something to fight for going back to the Parc de France. However, sadly, in just 4 minutes, that ended up leaving us, and we had nothing left to fight for. Mawani made it 1-0 inside 4 minutes, which was absolutely gutting. Before the 51st minute, a counter-attack from PSG, Xavi Simons find Victor Osimhen, who's going to go ahead, make it 2-0 and 5-2 on aggregate. With a round of 16 for Partizan. What a fantastic Champions League campaign that is. We are actually looking like a team which could compete in the Champions League. The absolute battering of Salzburg gives me hope for next season. Could be, you know, if we have another good summer, we don't lose everyone, and we manage to keep winning the Serbian Cup and the Serbian Super League, we could actually build to being a Champions League side a lot sooner than expected. We are going to go into that Serbian Cup. We got into another final. That is 3 finals out of 4 seasons. We faced up against OFK Belgrade, who were a team that, to be honest, I've actually heard never of. We had 32 shots in this game. They had just 4. And our first goal come in just 33 minutes. A ball up wide to Mikic, who beats his man and makes it 1-0. Borjan could not keep that one out. And the pyro started already. It's everywhere. It's even in their area. Serbian fans just love pyro. A ball in the back stick and a goal there before a ball in. Not quite going to be one there, but it drops to our superstar, Geronimo Riviera. He makes it 3-0. He is just a bit too good. Hodja then finds a ball to Filipovic, who finds Riviera driving into the box. He finishes it past Borjan. 4-0. The Serbian Cup, 3 out of 4 seasons. A fantastic, fantastic achievement. Could we go 4 seasons in a row of winning the Serbian Super League? Well, of course, an unbeaten July with just 1 game, a victory over Spartak, and then a 7-1 win over Vostovic, and an unbeaten August. We head into September with 4-0 wins, 2-0s, 5-1s, and then a 3-0 loss to Crvena Zvezda, reminding us there is another team in this league. October was absolutely no match for us, neither was November or December, all 3 months being unbeaten. February the exact same after the January break, an unbeaten February and an unbeaten March before going back into April, and another 3-0 loss to Crvena Zvezda. Had they improved so much that they were better than us us? Well, I don't know, but we won every single other game in April and also the rest of the games in May, which meant the league table was surely going to be close. We obviously couldn't beat Crvena Zvezda, but had they fallen short in other games? Yes, they had. We lost 2 games all season, both to Crvena Zvezda, but they lost 2 in the other games, but drew 7 where we just drew 5 and I got 95 points and a 74 goal difference. And that man Jovanovic, you aren't going to believe the stats. He played 42 games, got 42 goals and 4 assists as a 21-year-old Serbian striker. Go ahead and find him on your saves. Look at them stats. They are going down a little bit for some reason, but he is simply outrageous. He is someone to pick up, someone to find, and someone to use. And obviously, even though he's had that season, is so cheap. So make sure to find him and go ahead and pick him up. Samad Bazdar, again, had a brilliant season, this time in central attack midfield with 47 games, 26 goals, and 16 assists. An absolute brilliant young Serbian central attack midfielder. Noah Mikic, the right back we signed a few seasons ago for £7 million, has kept that £7 million value, but has got 27 assists this season and 10 goals. We were unbelievable. We were actually so good this season. Jovanovic, again, is second on average ratings with Bazdar there as well. Noah Mikic, second on assists to Lazar Nikolic. And Mirotevic, the guy on loan at Watford last season, scored 20 goals, got 22 assists in 48 games. We have built an absolute force, a fantastic side, and the board have given us £43 million to spend and £595,000 in wage budget. Now, obviously, because we are doing the Moneyball approach, it's quite difficult to not go ahead and spend loads and loads of money. I'm making sure the salary is still nowhere near Crvena Zvezda. They are over 2.5 times our salary in terms of what we're spending. So we're still loads down on that, and finances, we're above £100 million in the bank now, which is fantastic. So I'm not worried about how the club is actually doing financially. I'm just worried that no players are really getting much value. If we sort this by the general info and look at much value, Samad Bazdar has got £7 million of value. Riviera, who this season managed to get 18 goals and 18 assists, has got a value of £6.6 million. So I think I'm going to have to kind of try and sign some players around that £7 million value and just hope the more we dominate Serbia, the more we dominate, well, sort of get good in the Champions League, the value goes up with it, because it seems to be capped because of the league's reputation, which is a bit disappointing. It's a bit of a bug in the game, I would say. Obviously, a player which is scoring goals in the round of 16 and winning 10-2 in the knockout playoff round, they should be worth more than £6 million when they are putting in performances on the European stage. I mean, look at Salzburg's players. Some of them are worth absolute crazy money. So I'm going to have to try and find some players around that sort of value with that big transfer fee we have got. We can't go out and sign a superstar. It's going to come to finding some more bargains. So let's get into Season 5's transfers. All right, we're going to get absolutely torn apart because Noah Mikic, our superstar right back, has left the club for £15.75 million. Bogdan Mirocevic has left to Damak for 5.2. Filip Stankovic, our wonderful goalkeeper, has left to Lazio for 3.8. Matija Stejpanovic to Al Tali for 3.6. Svestia Markovic has left for 2.1. And Nikola Stankovic for £1.9 million. We have been cleared out and raised £28.5 million in that window, but we have lost some of our best players, which is absolutely infuriating. And it means we've got to go ahead and replace a lot of players, including our goalkeeper. Our new signing is Egil Selvic. He is 29 years of age, which is the very top of what I'd want to spend, but he was the only player of some supreme quality that I could sign for around £3.8 million that fit in with the Moneyball criteria of absolutely smashing it over at Rosenborg after moving from Haugesund in Norway. He has moved to the big team like he is going to be here, playing for the best and hopefully keeping us the best as well. A fantastic signing for just £4.5 million. A £1.3 million signing in Dusan Stojanovic. This guy is a very good young centre-back with decent potential, decent ability, very well-rounded. He's 26, so some good experience, signed from Jagiellonia over in Poland. Vladimir Lund Larsen is our brand new superstar centre-back. He has 4-star ability, 4-star potential, great bravery, jump, reach, and heading. This guy looks absolutely brilliant. Was signed for just £4.5 million from Molde over in Norway, and I hope he can be brilliant as well. A brand new CDM is Antef Sungui. This guy signed from Fortuna Sittard. He is starting his career over FC Dordrecht, I believe. If you are starting a brand new save, this guy is a great centre-back / CDM, which is where we're going to be using him. He's consistent, loves big matches, and was signed for a total of £4.6 million. You see what I mean by the whole Serbian thing of there not being much value? His value is now 2.7 to 5.8. I don't know what's going on there, but it's very, very annoying. We've then got a brand new right back, because obviously our best player in the whole team has left, and the only player I could sign is Motika Konyonovov from Kolosh in Ukraine. He starts off at Dnipro. he looks good. He's just nowhere near as good as our other guy. Micic was absolutely fantastic. This guy's got big old boots to fill, but he was very good over at Kolos last season and was good the season before that as well. Both seasons above a 7. We're hoping he can come here and sort of somehow fill the boots of Noah Micic. It's going to be difficult. And finally, a signing for the ages. A free agent signing of Jeremy Sarmiento. Yes, one of the best wonder kids on the game was released from his contract at Brighton and needed a brand new club to come on and play with. He had done very well on loan last season at Gil Vicente in Portugal with 4 goals and assists and a 7.08 average rating, and was happy to come into Partizan. 47k a week is a lot of money, but he's a free signing, and the Moneyball rules dictate don't worry too much about wages, just keeping your transfer fee low is the key. Fantastic dribbling, determination, flair and physical stats mean Jeremy Sarmiento is into the team and of course comes into the starting 11. Selvik in goal, Konyanov at right back, Zher and Lund Larsen at centre back with Filipovic at left back. Nikolic, who's a wonder kid through the academy next to Suwangui in DM, with Sarmiento, Bazdar, Riviera and Jovanovic as our front 4. Radlowski, Roganovic, Stojanovic, Petrovic, Pavlov as our backup defenders, with Hodster, Milenkovic, Godjic, Bernardo Valim, Stam Anikovic, Vivedovic as the backup attackers. Very difficult to say all of these different names, and I haven't touched on it again maybe for a season or 2, but the Wonder Kid farm just carries on. It is simply ridiculous. We've got so many players out on loan. We've got so many players in the under-19s that are just so good. It's difficult to keep on top of, but it's also quite fun watching all these Wonder Kids go away and grow and become superstars. But Season 5 is the season. I think we can make a real charge for the Champions League this season based on how good our performance was last year. And well, regardless of last year, we had to still go into the Champions League knockout playoff rounds, and there was only one leg as we now go into the 4th round. It was against Mulder, and we won 6-0 on aggregate. 2 dominating performances. Going into the league phase, we're a 3-1 loss against Porto, 2-1 win against Dynamo, 4-2 against Salzburg, 1-0 victory against Bayern Munich, a 1-0 loss to Ajax, a 2-0 loss to Valencia before a 3-1 victory against Juventus, and a 4-1 loss to Manchester City. A fantastic league phase meant we were going in to the knockout playoff rounds against Monaco. And of course, it was going to be very difficult to face up against a French side, but we can go ahead and do it. A fantastic ball in from Bazdar finds Jovanovic at the front post and he makes it 1-0. For Hostar finds a great ball over the top to Geronimo Riviera, who whips it into that man Jovanovic again to make it 2-0. Now this was the home leg, so we're of course going to be on top. We now had to go away to the money city of AS Monaco and the Stade Louis, where it is going to be incredibly difficult. There is a much better side in Monaco. They have got so much money, but could we somehow compete? Well, Vanderson found a ball to Florian Balogun, who made it 1-0 in 24 minutes. And it was just half an hour later, in the 67th minute, with still 25 minutes to go, Florian Balogun got another. It took it to penalties, where Sungi got off to an awful start and missed the first penalty before Balogun missed the first penalty for them as well. I've got no idea how that happens, but it does. The 2 best penalty takers miss, and Hodza puts it in for us before Fofana puts it in for them, making it 1-1. Zher then from the penalty spot for us makes it 2-1 before Magasa makes it 2-2. We're then going to go ahead and get a ball in from Bernardo Valim to make it 3-2, and a miss from Bolo Torre. Selvik saves, and we go ahead and score the last penalty through Konovu, and we go through on penalties 4-2 against AS Monaco. An absolute feat, I must say. That is a fantastic achievement to reach the round of 16. We're facing up against Tottenham Hotspur. And I mean, Spurs are the serial bottlers of the world. Surely we can beat them. Well, Hodza finds Sarmiento, who finds Bernardo Valim, the Brazilian centre attacking midfielder, and he scores for Mickey van der Ven, finds Villagra to find Garnacho at Spurs, who finds Brennan Johnson to make it 1-1. And just 7 minutes later, we're going to go ahead and take back our lead. A ball in from Riviera. Petkovic was there. Vicario couldn't keep it out, and it was 2-1 at home. That is all she wrote. A fantastic performance at the Stadion FK Partizan, and we had to go back to the London Stadium in front of 60,000 people. Could we keep our lead? Obviously 2-1 up is a very precarious game. We're just 21 minutes in. Bernardo Valim finds Filipovic, back to Valim, to Hosda, the ball to Geronimo Riviera, and he makes it 3-1 on aggregate. Petkovic then at the back messes around with the ball, and an awful back pass, and Brennan Johnson slips onto it. He misses, and then Foden balls back to him, and then he scores to make it 3-2 on aggregate, 3-3, mate, 3-2 on aggregate before Geronimo Riviera finds Bazdar. He makes it 4-2 on aggregate in the 76th minute. and we are through against Spurs. We have beat the Premier League money. Somehow we have done it. We've knocked out Monaco, we have knocked out Spurs, and next up is last year's competition, who we got knocked out in the round of 16 against PSG. Was it going to be the same this year? Well, it took all the way to the 92nd minute at home at the FK Stadion for Bazdar to score a wonder goal, a solo effort, and makes us 1-0 victors at the FK Partizan Stadium. A fantastic goal, and if you look at the stats, it was actually very even as well. The same shots, we had more on target, they had a better XG, but we scored the all-important goal and a 1-0 victory, taking it back to the Parc des Princes. Remember, they've got the likes of Mbappe, Osimhen. This season, they've signed Jamal Musiala, Xavi Simons, but we are Partizan. Sungi on the ball, finds a ball down the line to Sarmiento, who makes it 1-0 and 2-0 in aggregate in 51 minutes. Was he offside? No, he wasn't. Simicast finds Musiala, who finds Osimhen to make it 1-0 in the 76th, making it 2-1, but that's all she wrote, and we are through to the semi-finals of the Champions League, who knocked out Monaco, Tottenham and PSG, and who stood in our way next was another team who love to bottle it. It's Arsenal. And again at home, they were petrified by the Stadion of Partizan, and Kosanuvu finds Bernardo Valim in 53 minutes to make it 1-0 before a Geronimo Riviera free kick finds Bernardo Valim. It's deflected, it drops to Lund Jensen, and he makes it 2-0 here at home. We're winning in the semi-finals of the Champions League. I've got no idea how this is happening, but we are somehow going to be facing up against Arsenal away at the Emirates. A win, well, not a 2-goal loss, and we are going to the Champions League final with Partizan, and Inter Milan was going to be the final if we could do it. Saka makes Arsenal 1-0 leaders after a ball from Odegaard. A fantastic start for them, making it a 1-goal league. Petrovic then finds Sarmiento to find Riviera on the edge, who finds Lund Jensen, back to Petrovic, and he scores to take back our 2-goal lead. But that was going to be wiped out incredibly quickly because Arsenal, they're a decent side. Florian Wirtz finds Gabriel Jesus to make this just a 1-goal lead, and then they're going to get another one to make it 3-0 in aggregate. Declan Rice eventually finds Saka and he puts it past Selkovic to make it 3-3, and the game was all tied up, but this is Partizan. Kanuvu down the right hand side finds Sarmiento. He's going to get a ball in the box to Jovanovic to make it 4-3 in 58 minutes. Half hour to hold on, or was it half hour to get another goal? An awful defensive mistake, and Jovanovic bears down on goal. The audacious chip over Ramsdale. 5-3 on aggregate. Partizan are in the Champions League final. And as mentioned, it's Inter Milan who stood in our way. It wasn't Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona. It's Inter Milan. And while they're no pushovers, we have beaten more difficult teams in this Champions League run. So Riviera, in just 5 minutes, gets us off to a fantastic start before Samuel Lino for Inter Milan drives down the left-hand side, finds Takefusa Kubo, it misses him, misses Lautaro Martinez, and Mikel Elise makes it 1-1. The guy who wanted to come to us a few years ago is trying to ruin our dreams, and Florentino finds Barella, who's really trying to ruin our dreams, and he makes it 2-1 in extra time. The 99th minute, Sarmiento whips it in, and Jair, with that ridiculous heading and jumping reach, makes it 2-2, and Kanuvu down the right-hand side in the 113th minute finds that man Jovanovic. He pokes it home, and Partizan are Champions League winners. In just 5 seasons, we have turned the Serbian Giants from being the backup team to Crvena Zvezda in the league after 7 years of winning in a row, and they've got a Champions League, and we haven't, to making us 5 in a row champions. We'll get there in a minute, and Champions League winners. A fantastic run, and we have completed the rebuild. We are champions of Europe up the Partizan. A fantastic season. I'm not going to long out the league too much. We absolutely smashed it. 94 points, as you can imagine, as European champions. We've done very well. We've also got the 2nd place in the league, now qualifying for the Champions League as well. And imagine that league table is about to absolutely blast up as well, because we have smashed the UEFA coefficient rankings, making us champions of Europe, which is mental. 27 goals from Bazdar in the league, 14 for Jovanovic. Bazdar, Sungui and Sarmiento as the top 3 on average ratings. Bazdar with the most assists, Sarmiento in 3rd. Bazdar most player of the matches. Selvic with 19 clean sheets as well. I mean, this was absolutely... incredible and so fun and such a good story as well. I'm absolutely buzzing to say we have done this. Bazdar 32 and 15, Jovanovic 22 and an assist, 15 and 17 from Sarmiento, Riviera 13 and 13, Valim 13 and 10, 6 and 12 from our brand new right back Konokov as well. And I want to touch on the transfers because £33 million out this season, £17 million in. £7 million out last season, £19 million in, but £26 million out, £11 million in, £8 million out, £1.9 million in. We have done so well to battle with our players being poached for such small money and bringing in players with now a balance of £181 million in the bank, £54 million in transfer budget as well. On the club info screen, we're now up to 5-star training facilities, 5-star youth recruitment, 3.5-star youth facilities, and 4-star reputation. And we have taken over Crvena Zvezda. Now 21 Serbian League titles compared to their 16, and we're now both level on the Champions Leagues, one apiece. A fantastic rebuild up the Partizan. Thank you for watching. If this is your first ever Moneyball rebuild you have watched on the channel, there is a whole host of them down there. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.